and the negative is printed there. It means that, okay, we know that 0 is neither positive number nor negative number. 0 is 0. It's a neutral. So, I need to add one more condition over here. That is the number is 0 or not. If the number is 0, then only it is 0. And if it is not 0, then we will check for other conditions. Let's add this. If number is equal to 0. If number is equal to 0, print is 0, like that. And if condition not satisfied, then we will go to elif. See, another third keyword here. Okay, so first of all, I have checked whether the number is 0 or not. If the number is 0, then print it 0. If it is not, then check another condition which is just mentioned over here. Elif, number is greater than 0. Okay, then positive, else it is negative. Like, so when I want to add more than one conditions in the code, so I can make use of the third keyword, that is elif here. Okay, elif. And now let's try this one. When I enter 0, see, I am getting a 0 there because first time the condition satisfies, and if it is not, then it will check for positive and the negative number. Okay, that logic completely depend upon you, how you write that. You can perform the operation. You can check it positive also first or negative also first, then you can check for the 0, like this. This is possible. That also we can make use of it here. Okay, like this. So one few things that I'll write in the comment here. If part is compulsory. Okay, this is compulsory. Without if, elif and else can't be written. Without if, elif and else can't be written. So elif is optional, and which contains one more property, repeatable. Okay, optional and repeatable. Any number of times you can write. Optional and without condition. Okay, optional and without condition. It is executed when none of the above conditions satisfies. Remember that. So only if elif is also right, okay. If else is also okay, and if elif else is also okay, and if elif and else, that is also okay. So at the end of the decision making statements section, I'll just show how do I make use of the repeatable elif. How to create the elif repeatable for multiple number of times, and then we can get your task done with this. Okay, so like that. This is the way that we complete the construct, basic construct about the if, elif and else by some example. Check it out. So I just mentioned over there, which I can make use of. Okay, now the conditions inside the if-else. So what properties it has? The condition in if-else is parenthesis free. Parentheses are not required. Blocks are not expected. Okay, remember round brackets that we give generally to the condition, they are not required. Curly braces are not required for the blocks. Condition can have and an or operators. Okay, remember condition can have and an or operator. Or operator can also be given, and operator can also be given. I'll show that how do I make use of it. It should end with a colon, and it must return either true or false. With a colon, why? The blocks are created, and it must return either true or false. If it is true or false. Now remember, it is also possible that the condition may not return true or false. But that case, what happens? When the expression written there is returning 0, it means is false, and when the expression is non-zero, it is true, like that. Okay, so generally we write condition there, we don't write other expressions there. 0 value is considered as false, otherwise it is true. So if I write if true, it is always true. Like that's also possible to write it over here. Now see, write a program to read a number from user and find whether the number is odd or even. This is the common statement that we generally take for decision making there. How do I find whether the number is odd or even? Okay, the common logic is that when I divide this number by 2 and I got remainder 0, the number is even. And when I got remainder 1, the number is odd. Okay, when you divide and after that you are getting the number, the remainder as 0 or 1. That decides what kind of number is that, whether the number is odd or the even. I'll just show you in this program itself. How can I do this? Check it out. Okay, so here I enter the number and I'll write it here. Mod 2. Okay, mod, it returns the remainder of the division. So first of all, we'll check the 0 itself, because 0 is obviously 0 number. Here we will write If it is not zero number, then mod by 2 is equal to 0, the number is even. Okay, which means that the remainder is 0, that case even number, else it is the odd number. See this. Number is 0, it is 0. If it is not, then divide it by 2 and check the remainder. So remainder is 0, even, else the number is odd. See this one. If number is 12, this number is even. Okay, again try that. 35, number is odd. Okay, and again try this. 0 is 0, obviously. Like this. So this is how we can solve the problem statement. It depends upon your logic, what logic will apply there. One more logic is there that we can implement it here, like just like this. See this one. If I write like using AND operator also we can do. Okay, by ANDing this respective number by 1, I'm getting a 1 output. It's an odd number, else it's a even number. ANDing. Okay, the result can be either 1 or 0 when you AND that, 1 or 0. Okay, so when the result is 0, the number is even, and result is odd, sorry, 1, that is true, but is odd. Like that. That's also one of the way that we can make use of it here. It depends on your logic how you can apply here. See, odd. So this is the way that we can solve the respective problem statements. Okay, now let's go for another property of if-else, that is called as nesting of if-else. Nesting means writing them in each other. Like read three numbers from keyboard and find the largest of them. You are not allowed to use AND and OR operator. I'll show by using AND and OR operator also. But right now we are not going to make use of it. Nesting of if-else. Now see how to do this one. Let's write this code. Let's take the number 1. Here two numbers will be reading. Okay, see this. Enter first number. Okay, let's enter the first number. Okay, number 1. Then let's go for the second number, that is second. Okay, and third number. Okay, third. So three numbers I got over here, and let's see how can I make the nesting of it, one in each other. So how can I do this one? You have to compare num1 with num2, then num1 with num3, correct? Then whichever is the largest, for example num1 is largest in that case, we can just go ahead with that. Let's try how to do this particular operations here. I'll delete all of this, and first of all I'll write the condition here. If num1 is greater than num2, fine. Okay, num1 is greater than num2, and again if it is there, then inside it I can write one more time, num1 is greater than num3, correct? Now you can identify that if this condition is true, if this condition is true, which is the largest number? Num1, obviously. So let's write print num1. Okay, so largest number is num1. I'll write it here. Okay, so like that, we'll have largest number as num1 here. And if this condition is false, then largest number is num3, because this condition is false in that case. And if this condition is false, like which one? This one, then we are going to check one more time. Okay, one more time, check it. If, then check num2 is greater than num3 or not. Okay, because this is false, that's why. So in that case, if num2 is largest, okay, and for this case, if it is false, then we'll have num3 largest. Remember, here for first comparing 2 and 3, because claim that if num1 is greater than num2 and less than num3, so obviously number 2 is less than. This is what correct logic that we can consider there. And I got the number 3 resulted here. Same concept is applicable here. If this condition is false, it means that number 2 is greater than num1, correct? And then you're checking number 2 is greater than num3 or not. So obviously if it is there, the number 2 is greater, and if it is not, number 3 is greater. Okay, like this. So in this way, I can write the if-else in each other. This is called a nesting of if-else. Nest the condition, write if-else in each other. I can write if inside if, or else, if inside else also. Remember, that's also possible. So you can write if is inside else, and this if is under if. Like so, any any deep, we can create this hierarchy. Any number of such ifs can be written in each other by this particular mechanism. Let's try that. Now see, enter. Now for this case, third number is largest, correct? Now let's make first number largest. Okay, first number largest. Let's make second number largest. Fine. So this is how the nesting of the if is possible. If you can write anywhere inside other if also, but a perfect structure. You just can look at the program, how the perfect structure of the program is created here, how the if and else are connected together, and how they are coordinating with each other. When first is true, then second, then third. Like in this way, you can just go ahead with that. Okay, it was told in the problem statement. I can just check this code, see the output of it. Now it was written in the problem statement that you don't have to use the and or operators there. But can I use that? Yes, obviously you can use this. Okay, here I can write and number 1 is greater than number 3. Okay, in this way you can use the and operator. Now largest number is this. Fine. Okay, I'll connect it to that. I'll write elif. This is how we can make use of the largest numbers. Now let's check for the number 2. Number 2 is greater than. Okay, so obviously when the condition is false, then number 1 and number 2 is greater than number 3. Like this. Here also I don't require the condition. Print. Largest number is number 3. Okay, like that. You just can make use of it and check the output. Okay, 45 this case. So in this way we just can make use of it. Even I think this condition is also not required. If this is false, second one. Okay, fine. Okay, so this is the way that we can use and operators. Even or can also be required. I'll just show the or operator also. I'll take an example of one more condition where we can make use of this. Okay, check it out. So this is how we can use and operator and nesting of if else also physically. This is the solution which is just shown. Yeah. Now let's go for classical example here. Now this example can also be solved by the nesting of if else, as well as we can make use of and or operators also. So read an year and find whether that year is leap or not. Okay, it's very interesting to see this. What exactly the meaning of leap year is. I'll just show you what. So okay, let's see. Leap year is the year in which, in that particular year, February is having 29 days. Okay, it's the year in which the February is having the 29 days. Remember that. For example, if I go to change the calendar of current month, okay, calendar of 2020. Okay, here this is February 2020. Just can check 29 days are there in the February 2020. Okay, and if you're going to check 2019, okay, February, it's contain only 28 days are there. This is what the leap year means actually, remember. But in order to identify the leap year, we just know that leap year occurring after every 4 years. After every 4 years is there, and after the gap of 4 years, you get another leap year. So just keeping this condition in mind, we can solve this statement. Okay, if you going to check any other like year 2000, so it is again 29. So because the years are divisible by 4, the years are divisible by 4. But remember, this is not only the single condition where the year is divisible by 4 and we got that year is leap. If you're going to check that, this one, Okay, 1900. This number is divisible by 4. But check it out, this is not leap year. This number is divisible by 4, but this is not the leap year. If you go 4 years ahead, okay, after 1900, we just get 1904, just check it out, this is a leap year. This is not, but after 4 years, we are getting a leap year, and before 4 years, 1896, it's also a leap year. It means that their leap year is coming after the gap of 8 years. Remember. Okay, so 1900 is not the leap year. Similar to that, we are having 1800 also. This is also not the leap year. Divisible by 4, but it's not a leap year. So that's what the conditions of the leap years are. I have mentioned that conditions here. Check that. Conditions for being a leap year, it should be divisible by 4. The year should be divisible by the 4. And if it's a century year, it should be divisible by 400 also. Century year, remember, century years should be divisible by 400 also. Means the year, century year, which is coming after 400 year, that is only the leap year. Okay, and if it is coming after every 100 year, it is not leap year. Remember that. So that was the condition. So 1800 is also not divisible by 400, century year. 1900 is also century year, not divisible by 400. And if you go to check 2000, century year, but divisible by 400. Okay, for century year, these conditions are there. Okay, so I got that. Check this out. So this is the way that we can identify the conditions. So these conditions is identified by this particular mechanism, and now let's check it out. Okay, so this is the calendar. Just can check and identify. Now let's go for writing the code for this. So let's write the code. See, so three conditions are there. I need to check divisible by 4, divisible by 100, and 400 also. So let's write that. I'll just take that year from input. So enter year. Let's see how to divide the logics here. So for example, I'll write year and enter the year. First of all, check if year is divisible by 4 or not. Okay, equal to 4. Mod by 4 or not. Okay, one thing that I'll ensure that if the year is not divisible by 4, obviously it is not leap year. Century, 400, that doesn't matter. If it is not divisible by 4, it is not the century, it is not the leap year. Okay, so that's decided. Finally, not leap year. Okay, so let's check for this condition. If it is divisible by 4, then check whether it is century year or not. Okay, century year divided by 100. Century year or not. Remember. Now, one more thing. Go to the else part. Okay, here. If year divisible by 4 and not century year, like 2020, divisible by 4 but not by century. 2016, divisible by 4 but not by 100. That is not a century year. It means that years are leap years, which are divisible by 4 but not by 100. Remember it. Okay. Now, let's go inside the last condition. If by 4 also, by 100 also, and by 400 also. All are there. Leap year. Like year 2000. And what's the else condition of it? Okay. Year divisible by 4 also, 100 also, but not by 400. Like 1900, 1800. Not leap year. Check it out now. A perfect combinations of all that we can do now. Now, let's see. This condition will be satisfied for the year 2000. Okay, it's a century year divided by 400 also. Okay, not leap year. Okay, century year not divided by 400. 1900. This is general year which is divisible by 4. 2020. And this is any other year which is not divisible by 400. Like this. Okay, so this is how nesting will help perform these operations. check it out. I'll run it now. See the first year 2020 leap year. Now let's go for another 2000 century year divided by 400 leap year, correct, which is internally done there. Now century year not divisible by 400, yes, not leap year, perfect. And any other which is not divisible by 4 also, not leap, okay, in this way. So this is how we can devise the logic. We can create our logic, we can perform the operation of creation of the logic for solving the particular statements here. So this mechanism we can use to perform the operations of creating the logic inbuilt. Now see, one more very important thing to know here. Can I solve this by using if, and or? So here and or combinations are required. And or combinations are required. So how do I make use of and or combinations? See this one. This is your solution, and this is the solution using and or. So by 4 and by 100 not equal, okay, it's divisible by 4 and not divided by 100, okay, or year mode 100 400 equal to 0. Let's see this one. I'll just show you here. Let's delete that. Okay, year by 4 is equal to 0 and, okay, divisible by 4, correct, but parallelly it is not divisible, it is not a century year also, remember, it is not a century year also, parallelly that. So mod by 4 and not a century year 2020, okay, 2016, these are the year which are divisible by 4 but not by 100, so I require not by 100 here, correct. Either this or it is directly divisible by 400, or either any one of these two or this. Now remember, divisible by 400 is always the leap year. If you go to 2000, 2400, 1600, obviously, so if you enter such kind of year, they will be obviously the leap years. So this is how we can embed the multiple conditions together. This mechanism will be used. Okay, I can check the output. Now let's print leap and else not leap. Okay, see this now. Leap year, correct, and 1900 not leap, correct, leap year. It was already created, not leap, correct. Okay, so this way we can solve a problem statement as per building a logic. Okay, any sort of logic that requires, just have to create that and just put it in the program format like that. It is not much difficult. We just require a small set of practice to accomplish this particular task like this. Fine. Now let's continue with other examples. Now the elif, repeatable elifs. Okay, repeatable. So I just have mentioned previously that elif can be repeated for n number of times. So for example, I'm having a things here like read the marks in percentages from student and find the grade of it as per the below conditions. Like above 75%, I have distinction. 60 to 75, I am first class. 50 to 60, I'm having second class. 40 to 50, I'm having pass class. And below 40, I'm failed. So these are the conditions. So see, you just can observe that 4 conditions are present here, and the 5th one is an else, that it's failed. Like so, can we do this one? Yes. So let's see how repeatable ellipses are possible. Let's read the marks and read that marks, and now check this. How exactly we can observe this? First of all, we'll check if the marks are greater than 75. If the marks are greater than 75, then obviously we have the distinction. Okay, one more thing, greater than and equal to should also be there. 75, exact 75 is also Now elif. Okay, so here we require a condition. What conditions are there? Less than 75 and greater than 6. Correct. One more thing just mention that less than 75 is not required here. Why? Because the program control will present here only when this condition is not. It means that marks are less than 75. So first condition is already present here. We need to write a second condition only. That is marks are less than 60. Okay. It means that less than 75, sorry, not that, greater than 60, less than 75 and greater than or equal to 60. Okay. Less than 75 and greater than or equal to 60. That is what we have first class. Again, if this condition is not satisfied, it means that it is less than 60. Correct. So less than 60 and greater than or equal to 50. Second class. Okay. Again, same condition. If it is not greater than 50, it means that it is less than 50. So check that greater than 40 or not. Greater than or equal to 40. That is what we have pass class. And none of the above conditions satisfies, then we have failed. Means less than 40 is failed. So check it out. How many number of time I have written elif here? So elif is added for 4 times, 3 times. And if none of the above conditions satisfies, then we'll go for the last, that is else part, which is written as something like this. So elif, it can have n number of conditions by using and or, but I have not given that because obviously when first condition is false, then only it is coming to the below condition and then we are continuing with the same like that. Okay, so if I run that, so 79, yes, distinction correct. Again run this, 68, first class correct, and 56 second class, then 47 correct, and again we'll run that, sorry, 35 failed. Okay, like that. So this is how we can embed these conditions and create a else if ladder. So a ladder, a sequence of the elif conditions can be created and we can solve your problem statement as per your requirements. See, it is again not necessary that every time you have the same logic. If I have given same logic, maybe your logic is different. Maybe how can I start from the base? Means I want failed first. It's possible, yeah. So if it is less than 40, less than 40, first of all check less than 40 or not. If less than 40 are there, then you have failed. If you are not less than 40, then check less than 50 or not. Okay. If it is less than 50 means greater than 40 and less than 50. That is what assumptions are present over here. That is part. If it is less than 60 means above 50 and below 6, second class. Okay, perfect matching here. And if it is again less than 75 means greater than 60 and less than 75, that is your first class, correct. And if none of the above conditions are there, it is greater than 75, which is distinction. See, so I have given the solution in the inverse fashion also. So it's not required that every time we just have the common, similar, simple logic. I can use this logic also. Just can try from the lower part, lowest values, and they will go for higher values. Okay, if I check it again, see this 79 distinction correct. Then 45 pass class correct. First class, and what is remaining? 52 second class. So failed is remaining. Failed. See. So this is how you can create your structure. So it's depend on your logic, okay, because facilities are given by the programming language to us to write the codes. But how can we make use of that? That completely depends upon our logic or implementing. Okay, just can check it out. and modify this code. Just can modify it further also. Fine. Okay, no problem. Let's continue with our topic. Okay, this is how we can do. We have done the solutions. Yeah, right. Taken the marks in floating format. Then I have done the checking. So it's inverse to that. Another way which I can check it out. Now, menu-based programs. See, menu-based program. It's a requirement of many different programming languages. Python is not having a statement to create a menu-based program, just like C, C++, Java, and many more languages like R, PHP, JavaScript. It also contains the mechanism called a switch case. Only Python is the language which does not contain that switch case. It is used to make the choice from multiple options available. That's called as switch case statements. So this switch case statements are used to create the menu-based program in Python or any programming language, not Python actually. So they are how to create that. So they are created with the help of the if, elif, and else. If, elif, and else. By this mechanism, we can do this one. Just read the example shown over here. Read a number from user and do the following by showing the menu. Like find a square, find a cube, check the order even number, and check the number is positive. How to do this one? I want to show a menu, and after that we have to perform the operation. Let's do this one. I'll read a number from user, and we are doing operations on that. So let's have a number here, num, and let's take this number as input from the keyboard. Okay. Now, and after this we'll show a menu. Okay, when you read the number, we'll show a menu like this menu. Okay. Okay. So that menu will contain all the things that are mentioned in the problem statement. Like number one is to find the square. Okay. Again, go to new line /n2. Second is find a cube. Then I'll go to new line again. Third is to check odd or even. Okay. And again /n. Go to the fourth, which will show positive or negative. Correct. And then we'll ask the user to enter the choice. So let's take this choice. Okay. See, like this, we are having it. Enter the number 12 I have entered, and after that menu is displayed. That menu contain all square, cube, finding it, and odd or even number or positive or negative number. After that, I'll print some choice and then we'll perform. I have not done anything yet, but this will do, and we'll check the output. Now let's see. So till this, it's okay, it's working fine. And now let's employ our structure of menu-based program here. So if, first of all, choice is equal to 1. If choice is equal to 1, then we are going to make a square of that number. Okay, correct. So let's do the square. Print. How to find the square? Num into num. Like this. Okay. Now elif, if it is not 1, then choice is equal to 2. Then print the cube. Num raised to 2. 3. Okay. Elif choice is equal to 3. The third choice is there. Now here we'll require the nesting again. Now I'm going to check whether the number is odd or even. Okay. So let's check. If number mod 2 is equal to 0. Okay. Then print the number is even. And else print odd number. Okay, like this. The third is to check the number is odd or even. I just employed my logic here, and the fourth condition If choice is equal to 4, so let's check order, sorry, positive or negative. Here also you just can have elif part also. I'm not writing that here. You just can employ that. Because code will go much bigger. So greater than 0, print it is positive number. Okay. And if not, else print negative number. Fine. Check this. So choice number 1, 2, 3, 4, I have all checked, and if none of the choice is given, then we just can print wrong choice. So this is how the menu based programs in Python are created. All of them just can observe this code and let's enter the number 12. I want square. Square is 144, correct. Now let's run it again. Number is 12. Cube of the number 1728. Again run this. Enter the number 12. Check the number is odd or even. Even number, correct. Again run it. 12. Positive or negative? Positive number. Let's run it again. 7. Wrong choice. This way. So this is how the menu based programs in Python are possible to create. So this is when you require. So most of the time when you create a large project, in that project we require to create a menus. We require to get the user preferred choices. In that case, it's required to create the menus, and these menus are created by this mechanism, is just shown here, by making a combinations of if, elif, and else. Okay, check this code completely. Okay, fine. In this way, you can just create the particular problem statement, solve the problem statement with the help of a menu-based operations in Python. So, along with this session, I have given some small problem statements also, exercises. We just have to solve them by employing your logic. So, 6 statements are there. I'll just show you one by one. First of all, you have to write a program to calculate the profit and loss. Input is selling cost and actual cost. So, check the difference in them. Selling cost is greater or higher, or your actual cost is greater. So, accordingly, you have to identify profit and loss. Check whether the character is uppercase or lowercase. This can check whether it's above A and below Z, like that conditions are required in that case. Next is write a Python program to input electricity unit charges and calculate the total electricity bill according to the given conditions. See this one. Electricity, I've been knowing how these calculations are done. For first 50 units, it's containing 50 paise per unit. Okay, for next 100 means from till 150, 75 per unit. Then for next 100, 120, 1.25 per unit. Then above 250, 1.50 per unit. And in all, a surcharge, additional surcharge of 75% is added to the bill. Okay. One more is this, just like input is basic salary, output is gross salary. And based on that, you just can identify DA is 75% of basic and HR is 25% of basic. And conditions are like that. Okay. If your salary is less than 10,000, so gross will be DA plus basic. Okay. If it is greater than 10,000 and less than 20,000, so it is like DA plus basic plus 50% of HRA. And if it's above 20,000, then we are having gross is equal to basic plus DA plus HRA. Some sample things are given here. That conditions should match in your output. Okay. Now, let's go for the second half of this session. That is your loop control structures. Now, The topic name is decision making and looping. So we have completed with the decision making statements. We'll be using this statement again for multiple number of times in the future topics of Python programming language. So now we'll start with the loops. Loop is just to create a repetition in the programming. If you want to execute any number of statements for n number of times, for a specific number of times, we'll be making use of the loops there. Upon some conditions, upon some iteration values, we can make use of it. So, four topics we are going to see in this session. That is, first of all, we'll check what do you mean by while loop, how while loops are structured, applications of it. Then second is for loop, third is nesting of the loops, and the last loop control statements. Loop control statements are like we are having statements such as pass, continue, break, which are used in the loop control statements. And we'll see the applications of them also. How can I make use of them effectively in the program? So let's start with the first, that is our while loop. So while loop is a loop which is used to execute some set of statement for some finite number of times. Okay. So upon the conditions which is mentioned in front of it, if that condition is true, then only it will go inside the loop. So see the conditions, while condition is given colon, because it's an indented block which is compulsory to give statement one, statement n number of statements can be there inside it. When the condition is true, then only it will go inside it and then perform the operations. This is compulsory. While contains one more structure called as else, which is optional, not compulsory. If you want to give else, it's okay. That's if condition is becoming false, then one time else will get executed at the end of the loop basically. When the loop is ended, then else part will be executed. Okay, this is the syntax of using the while loop. Now let's see how can I make use of this statement. So let's go for the loops. Let's create a new file. Okay, let's make it loop, and now let's see the application of the first kind of the loop. I want to print my name for 10 number of times using a while loop. So while is having a condition, we need to specify the condition perfectly. So let's create a loop counter variable like count is equal to 0. Okay, and while that count is less than 10. Okay, obviously first time it's less than 10. Okay, and let's see, let's print the name first. Okay, and one more thing, so count is the counter, it's called as loop control variable, which is used to control the iterations of the loop, how many number of times the loop should get executed. That is controlled by the count variable basically. Okay, count variable. And now I just want to change the counters. How to? Count plus equal to 1. It means that count is equal to count plus 1. We execute that. Now how this will do, it will check the condition first, we'll go inside it, condition is true, we'll print the name and change the counter. When the last statement of the loop is completed, executed, we'll go to check the while statement again one more number of time and check that whether the condition is true or false. Okay, the condition is true or false. So when incremented, it will become 1, condition true, again 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and value of count becomes 10, condition will become false. 10 is not less than 10. Okay, that is the condition false. So 10 number of times, that is from 0 to 9, I'll get my name printed on the screen. Okay, so let's try that. So this is how we can embed the conditions and check it out. Fine. So this mechanism we can make use of, and by which you can just print the names or provide some repetitions, some iterations. One execution of the loop is called as iteration. And that iteration we can identify by specifying a proper condition in the loop. Okay, so remember, while is the universal loop. Whatever programming languages you will see, whatever, you might have learned Python, you may learn C, C++ or Java in your semester, current semester. There also they contain while. Exactly same. I just think is that we need to embed the parenthesis to the conditions there. If you use PHP, if you use MATLAB, if you use R programming language, or if you use JavaScript, wherever the programming is there, their while loop is same, exactly same way it is employed. Even in the Scratch programming language also while loop is same. Okay, so the conditions are like that. We need to employ the conditions. With the conditions true, go inside it and perform the operation. So along with while, we can have a else also, which is optional, given optional there. When the loop is terminated by condition is becoming false, after condition has become false, then else part will be executed. Else part. So let's have the else part written here. So it's not compulsory to write loop ended. Fine. Let's try. See. You got the output, and at the end, when the condition of the loop become false, then else part will be executed in that case. Okay, so this is how we can write the if and while and else over here. So let's see for more applications of using this. So my first exercise to solve by using the while loop is to find addition of first 10 natural numbers. That is, find the addition of numbers from 1 to 10. So how to do this one? Let's try. So I want a counter. So let's keep counter as it is, which will start from 1 and end with 10. End with 10 means this should be equal to 10. Okay, my condition. And now I want to store, I have to store additions. Addition in a variable. So let's get one more variable here, add, which is equal to 0. Okay. Okay, so we'll start with 0 and every other value of count I'll add into the variable add. Okay, correct? How to do this? So add is equal to add plus count. So count will be added. First one added, revised, then 2, then 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it will get revised like that, and at the end of the loop, the addition of all the elements, okay, from 1 to 10 will be stored in the variable add. Okay, so count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And when value of the count becomes 11, that time the condition will become false. Loop will be terminated. And we'll have addition here. Let's try this addition. Okay, so addition is, okay, might be knowing what is the addition that 1 to 10 numbers are. I think it is 55. 1 to 50 numbers, 1 to 10 numbers, sorry, that added. So in this way, we just can employ a logic to perform the operations of finding the addition of all these numbers. Say this one. Okay, check it the logic, or I can just make use of this condition more effectively by using the assignment operator, add plus equal to count. This is also one of the way by which you can perform the addition, like add is equal to add plus count. You have seen that this is shorthand notation which is used as assignment operator to perform the addition of two variables and store in another kind of variable there. So let's try that. Check the output. It is 55. Yes, correct. Correct. So this is how the mechanism of the while loop is present that we can make use of and perform the operation. See this one. Another exercise is there. So let's try to make more clear idea about the while loop. See, find the addition of all the odd numbers from 1 to 20. That is, find the addition of numbers 1, 2, 3, 5 till 19. All odd numbers. Okay, odd numbers. So we are already seen how to find the odd number. Mod by 2 equal to 0, it's even, and mod by 2 is equal to 1 is odd number. But remember that this condition is not required here. How? Because we know that in series odd numbers are there and every alternate number is odd. Every alternate number is odd. So let's see how to do this one. I'll just make sure that the loop is like this. This I'll make 20. Condition. Count is less than or equal to 20 and add is equal to add plus count. That is perfect. We'll start with 1. First 1 will be added. Then I want to add the 3. So just increment count by 2. So 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 2, 7, 7 plus 2, 9. We'll go on using it till 20. So 20 will not be considered because it's incremented by 2, it will become 21. Fine. and addition of all the odd numbers from 1 to 20 will be calculated. I see logic building representation depends upon you, how we can make use of this particular concept effectively in our system. So I know that the series numbers, alternate numbers in series are odd or even. It depends upon the starting number. When the starting number is odd, then every alternate number will be odd. If starting number is even, then every alternate number is even. So just I employ that, and addition of all this number is 100. Fine. So this is how we can make use of the logic, make use of the loop control structures, and find the solution of your problem effectively so much easily here. Now let's go for more detailing about the while. Three things, three properties are there that while is having here. First, an infinite loop. While is the only loop in Python which can be infinite. Okay, which can be infinite. Second property already we have seen, that is the else statement for while loop. Else statement is which is not compulsory, but we can put it there. Basically, the output generated by using the while we can print using the else part of it. Okay, only else part. And the third, that is single statement while. It means that in a single line also we can execute the while loop. Okay, we can execute the while loop. So let's see these properties one by one. As I told, while is the only loop which can be infinite, which can be made infinite. Infinite means, see, if the condition is satisfied continuously, it is not becoming false. It's not becoming false. So what will happen? The condition or the loop will go in infinite phase. Will go in infinite phase. Remember that. So how to use it? Let's try that. So let's take a count again. Is equal to 0 while count is greater, sorry, it's less than 10. Okay, then print the name. Okay, fine. Now what is actually happening here? See, I have not changed the count variable. If I forgot to write that statement, of intentionally I have forgotten that. Okay, so count is not changing. Obviously the condition will be true forever for this case. Okay, mistakenly we just have done that, or this is a logical mistake that we can call. Okay, when I run that, infinite, remember that. Okay, so I'll press Control C to close this keyboard interrupt, and now it's completed because logic is something missing, which I have not changed the counter variable here, and because of that my output is infinite. This is the first method by which you are making the things infinite. One more way is there, which is intentionally we can make it. Okay, biologically mistake we can have, or intentionally also. Intentionally means I just write something like this here. This is intentionally, which is true. While true, while also a keyword, and true is also a keyword. Continuously, infinite. Say while true, I not mention any conditions. So while true is used to create an infinite loop. So by intention, if you want to create a loop infinite, so we can make use of this statement of while true, by which you just can make a loop infinite. So basically, when I work on IoT based project, Internet of Things based project, this project are required to get executed continuously 24/7. So such statements or such programs are completely written into the while loop. They are written inside the while loop by following this kind of mechanism which I shown here on the screen. Okay, so we can employ that, and with the help of this particular system, we just can perform operations of uh, executing any number of n number of statement for infinite number of times. Okay, so infinite loop. For loop can't be infinite. Remember, I'll show why it's not actually infinite, because some properties which are differentiating from while loop, yeah, present in the for loop, that's disallowing the infinity inside the while loop there. Okay. The second is the else. Else. We already seen the else part there. See this one. This is what we have done. Else. Okay. While loop may have an else statement after it. When the condition becomes false, the block under the else statement is executed. However, it doesn't execute if you break out the loop if exception is raised or exception is raised. Okay, accidentally loop is terminated or break statement is used to break the loop. That case else will not be executed. It will be executed only when condition is becoming false. Then only. Now, let's see the single statement while. Single statement while. In a single line, I can write the while statement. Let's see, I just want to print all the numbers which are from 1 to 10. Okay, like this. I'll just make use of this. See this. A small program by which I'm printing all the numbers from 1 to 10 using a while loop. So I start with 1, count is less than or equal to 10, print the count and count plus equal to 1. So we'll have 1, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When value of count becomes 11, the while loop will be terminated. Okay, so it's possible to write all of them in a single line also. Check it out. Okay, so wherever the colon is there, that we have to keep as it is, colon, but wherever the nothing is present, so there we write a semicolon. Just write in yesterday's session, I just shown a shortcut method to write multiple lines on a single line. So we can separate them with a semicolon. Okay, but if colon is there, don't write semicolon in that case. Remember, so in this way, you can write all of these statements on a single line in a while loop. So this is what we call as a single line, single statement while. Check the output. Okay, remember that this is how we can write the shortcut methods. We can employ the shortcut methods right to while, applicable to every kind of control structure. Actually, in C also, in if-else also we can write that, or in while loop, for loop also we can employ such kind of statements. Write every line, every programming statement in a single line of code. Yeah, so this is how the while control structures are present. Now let's go for the for loop. How can I make use of the for loop to create the loop control structures and to perform different sort of operations by this? It is differentiated. For loop is completely different. Okay, so let's see what exactly for loop does. Python for loop can iterate over a sequence or a collection of items. Iterate over a sequence or a collection of items. Sequence or a collection of items, just like list, array, tuple, set, dictionary. Many are there. Series. These are the data structures which are a collection of elements, which are the sequence of elements. If you want to iterate, if you want to use a for loop, we can iterate them. Okay, so for is very different kind of loop. If you go for C++ or Java and C, it contains a different sequence there like this. Okay, you might be knowing if you work with the loop of C and C++ and Java. So it's something like that. For I is equal to 0 less than n I plus plus. Okay, it won't work here. Here we use the in keyword, just like a syntax shown over here. Okay, for n in sequence. Okay, for n in sequence, n is a variable, for and in are the keywords. We have already seen in operator, but here in is used in association with the for. In sequence, sequence is a collection of elements. Okay, what it will do, it will take first element in sequence in n, process that, next element, then next element, next element. When all the elements of the sequence in the sequence are over, then only for loop will be terminated. Okay, so for n in sequence, one by one will be taken. When the sequence is over, when they are completed, then only for will be terminated. So there is no specific conditions there. For loop is made for iterating over a sequence or the collection of items in a list, in a variable, any kind of collection variables there. Okay, it can make use of it. Let's see how it's actually used. So there are some differences that I can show between the while and for loops. Like while loop can have a condition for iteration. Okay, it can have the condition for iteration, and for loop don't have any loop condition. So its task is to iterate over a collection of elements or a sequence of elements only. So in case of while loop, counter can be incremented or decremented by any number. We can make sure that we can make use of that increment or decrement statement by which the counter variable's value can be changed. But the for loop can iterate through a sequence by one increment only. Okay, it can iterate through the sequence by one increment. So one by one, first one plus one, like that will go on iterating the contents. Okay, that's what the for loop will be. And while loop, the loop can be infinite. Okay, while loop is infinite. We already seen when the while loop can be infinite because of the conditions. If condition is not satisfied, or if it is satisfied continuously, that time the while loop can be infinite. And for loop, we don't have a condition. That's why this loop can't go on infinite phase. Okay, that's it. Now let's go for some examples. How can I make use of the while loop more effectively, more efficiently? Okay, so let's see the first example here for n in, and there are some sequence I mentioned here. Now see, here for is the keyword, in is the keyword, and n is the variable. Anything we can mention there, num, n, x, z, count, anything you just can write there. Okay, and what this will do, it will take 3 in n first, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, and then it will process that. Let's see, for example, I want to print all of this number one by one, so I can make use of it. For n in, so it will print 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on the screen. See this. Like that. So you just specify what operation we require here. For example, if I write end statement here, end is equal to, I want a space at the end of every print. See, so space is there, 3 is printed, then space, then 4 printed, space, 5 printed, space, 6 printed, space, 7 printed, space, and I'm again on new line after this. So in this way, I just have can use the for loop effectively in my system. Okay, one by one element can be iterated and can make use of. Now see, it's just I have printed it, but I want to perform the operation of finding the squares of them. So first number square, second number square, third number square, fourth number square, fifth number square, end like this. Okay, so any specific operation also we can do on these numbers and then perform or print that values or that numbers on the screen like this. Okay, so this is how we can make use of the for loop. Now, many things are there that we need to focus while using the for loop. What exactly are there? It is not required or not compulsory that these numbers should be are of same size. Okay, or of same size or same data type. Check this. Fine. So I made the combinations of integer, float, boolean, and string. Yeah, and then I'm printing it on the screen one by one. See this. Okay, so any sort of combinations are possible there. Even it's not required that it should be written like that. We can write in this format. This is called a tuple actually. In tomorrow's session, I'll show what do you mean by the tuple, how the data structures are used here. Okay, see this one. Or when I use square bracket, it's called as a list. That also we'll see tomorrow. See, it can be taken from a list variable also, and we can generate the similar kind of output from this. Okay, in this way, it's possible to work and perform the operations like mixed kind of elements are also possible with this. Now, let's see what are the properties, what are the characteristics that the for loop is having. So, 4 things I'll show here. First is the range function. It's very interesting to see this function and use here in Python. It's very connected with the for loop regularly. Then iterating on a list or similar constructs. Okay, how do you do this one? Iterations that we can see. Then iterating on indices of list or a similar constructs. Indices, just like when you use a collection of element, then it contains the number, selection number. It's called as index. And then the else statement for loop. So we can have the else statement also connected with the for loops. Now let's start with the range function first. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just go to the terminal. Where's the terminal? Wait a minute. I'll go to the terminal and here I'll show the implementation of the range function. Range is an inbuilt function of Python which is used to generate a sequence of elements. Which is used to generate the sequence of elements. What are that? See, let's try that. List of list is a function is to generate a list range of 10. See, 0 to 9, these numbers are generated. 0 to 9 means the 10 is given, so lowest number is 0, highest number will be n minus 1. This is n minus 1 is 9. So till 9, the sequence is generated there. This is called as a list, which is generated here and is shown on the screen. Now, like this, I can make use of a range function to perform some different operation. Like I can specify the initial value also. 4 to 9. Lower bound, 4 is a lower bound, 10 is the higher bound. Okay, from lower bound to higher bound, this sequence or the list of elements are generated and just can check it on the screen. I don't require that it should be printed directly. I can store them in a variable also. See, array variable I created, and the result generated using range function I have stored in a variable array. Okay, that's how. So I can have a single parameter, I can have double parameter range function even. Okay, so in this way you can assign that also. Even you can have third parameter also. So third parameter is very interesting to see. That third parameter is called as increment. 4 to 20 increment by 3. Okay, so 4 plus 3, 7 plus 3, 10 plus 3, 13 plus 3, 16 plus 3, 19. Okay, if you specify the third parameter, it's called as increment. And even, okay, even I can perform operation decrement fashion also. So 20 to 3 decremented by 3. Let's make it 2. 20 to 2. See, 20 minus 3, 17 minus 3, 14 minus 3, 11 minus 3, 8 minus 3, 5. Minus 3 is going as to, the highest number is not considered as I shown there, like that. So inverse list can also be created by that. This is the inbuilt function by which you can make use of it. Range, output of the range function is that, not the list function. List function is to convert the data into list format. That's only the property that it carries. Okay, now let's use this function along with the list. Okay, now let's see. For example, I want to print all the numbers from the respective range 1 to 10. Okay, I've given 11. I know that last number is not considered there. See, for n in range 1 to 11, so 1 by 1 number is taken, 1 print, 2 print, 3 print, 4 5 6 till 10. The number will be taken one by one into variable n and they are printed on the screen. Okay, like that. Fine. So whatever implementation of range functions I have seen in the terminal of Python, same we can embed here also and get a task done. You can try that. Just check it out. Which I mentioned here, range 10. And if I want to use above that third 1 to 10 increment by 2, like all the odd numbers are extracted from there and they are printed on the screen like this. Now, this is how the range is used for decrement operation. That also we have seen. I just shown that how decrement operations are written there. Now, let's go for iterating through these sequences. So range function we just can make use of, and we'll make use of the range function again one more time. Okay, so before that, I'll just show some more property that how for loop can be used. Let's take uh, a sequence of element like seq, a variable I've taken, and inside that some sequence of element are taken. Okay, like this, and I want to check these numbers, okay, from this sequence and perform their operations onto it. Okay, see this one, how I have done that. So here after the in keyword you can write a variable also which will contain the n number of element inside it, and from that n number of elements one by one element is taken in the variable. Okay, let's change the variable now. It's not required that always n should be there. Any number of any variable I can mention there. I'm printing them on the screen like this. Now, if you want to do some specific operations on it, okay, specific operations like I just want to extract the odd numbers or even numbers, whatever, odd numbers or even numbers. So we just can perform operation. Almost all the numbers are odd here. That's it. Okay, so let's make it more clear. We'll make some number as even. Okay, and now I want to extract the odd numbers. So here I can apply condition because the numbers are not in sequence. Sequence means in series. Number mod 2 is equal to 1. So I will extract the odd numbers from here. If that number is divisible by 2 and its remainder is 1, it's not divisible by 2 actually. So print that number on the screen. So odd numbers will be printed only. Say this 23, 87, 93 and 59 like that. Okay, so this is how we can iterate through a sequence, any variable which is containing a sequence of elements and make use of this in your code. Not only that, I can make use of a string also by which you can iterate through it. Like I'll write Mithu's kilologies. Okay, and I want to iterate through the sequence. SEQ is given there, and let's check them. Okay, so I'll take one by one character from that, printing it on the screen and having a space in between that. Say this. How it is done? Okay, so one by one I have taken this and then perform the operation. I want that end variable should be like slash n. This is by default actually, end is by default slash n. See how this is generated. So from a sequence of characters, from a sequence of elements, any sort of elements, we just can take them one by one using the for loop iterations, and then we can perform the operations onto it, like any kind of operations that are expected there. Okay, like that. Check this. Now even we have a collection of strings that also we can make use of it here, like check it out. Okay, so this is a sequence of the strings that I'm using it over here. Say this one, how they are taken one by one in SEQ, and then I'm printing them on the screen. And even I want to perform some operations on them, like I want to convert them. These are in title case. I want to convert them in the uppercase dot upper. So num whatever is taken, convert it into upper and print it. Fine. One by one they are taken and then they are printed on the screen. Okay, so same operation of converting the data into the uppercase format is done there, and then we got this output on the screen, so which contains the values or the strings in uppercase letters. Fine. Yeah, this way. Now, yeah, this is very important to know the else part. So the for can also contain the else part here. I'll write else. Okay, there are four control structures in Python which contain the else part. The first that we have seen is if else, second is while else, third is for else, and the last is try else. On last day, I'll show how to make use of this exception handling. It contains the try else, so for, and everywhere it is acting like a parasite. It's connected to some other kind of control structures, not independent always. So else, let's have that else print. Okay, goodbye. So it's completed. Let's say goodbye. Okay, so when the loop is ended, then what we have to execute, okay, that you can specify inside the else part. Okay, for else, which is not compulsory. Else is always optional in all the control structures of Python programming language. Okay, yeah. Now the first example that we have seen for the for printing the name for 10 number of times. Like I want to print my name for 10 number of times, so I can make use of it. Like in while we have seen that example, and if you want to solve that is in for, like for x in range. So I know that 10. And let's print it. I don't require any count variable also. I know that this loop will be executed for 10 number of times. So within 2 lines, we can achieve this output. See this. For x in range 10, so 10 one by one character will be taken in x, and then I'm printing Tushar on the screen. So the loop will have the iterations of 10, and when this in every iteration, it's printing the name on the screen. Check it out. Okay, so that's how we can do, and even see other problem statements also. Like I want to find the addition of all the natural numbers from 1 to 10. So let's track that. How to do this one? Let's take a add variable here. Natural numbers from 1 to 10, correct? So 1 to 10, that is last number is 11. So till 10 only numbers are taken. So I'm taking that number one by one into x variable. Fine. And add is equal to add plus x. Fine, done. Addition is completed. First number is added, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, they are added. Okay, so loop will be ended because the number of element in the range will be completed, and at the end of the loop or inside the while loops else part, I can find the addition of all. So let's see addition. Okay. Okay, so you can have addition, printing the add variable. Okay, check it out. 55, correct. Addition of first 10 natural numbers is this. Fine. So here we require one less variable, sorry, not extra variable. I have not used the count variable over here. Instead of that, I use the range function and then done this operation of it. And similarly, if I want to do the addition of all the odd numbers from 1 to 20, correct? So 1 to 21, increment by 2, correct? No changes. Only that range function I have changed. 100. Correct. So this is how we can employ the logic of the same statement using the for loop here. So it's very interesting to say that some build functions. Why Python is beneficial and useful in many cases, because it's having the inbuilt functions there. Like I'm having a function called as sum. The task that we have done. This is addition of first 10 natural numbers. Sum default function, it is default function, range also default function. Sum of list of range of 11, or the addition 100 that we are getting here is this. So range function is passed as parameter list function, and it's passed as parameter sum function, and finally that's how inbuilt is possible. You can make use of that structure also. But my task is to teach about the for loop, how exactly the for loop is beneficial, understandable to us, and how can I effectively make use of the for loop to perform different operations. Let's take an example of the for loop. One exercise we can solve from that, and then we'll go ahead of using the other characters. Okay, so let's see the exercises for that for loop. Yeah. Read a number from user and find a factorial of that number. Might be knowing factorial 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into like take a number as user input and find the sum of digits of this number. Write a program to print all the odd numbers from 10 to 20, 10 to 30, or reverse a number from keyboard and print it in reverse. Write a program to print Fibonacci series up to n terms. Let's take any of this example. Let's see the first one, that is factorial of the number. So factorial is the multiplication of number from 1 to that particular number there. So let's try that. Let's have a number input from the user. Okay, read it. Let's take a factorial number as 1 first. So we'll multiply all and then we'll show that in the fact variable there. Correct. Loop is not mentioned. We can use any of the loop. Let's try first by while loop and then we'll go for using for loop. Okay, so let's try while loop. While number is greater than 1. Okay, because if I enter 5, so 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, that you have to do, it means you have to go to decrement the number. Okay, and when value of it becomes below 1, that case the loop should be terminated. That's why I have given while number is greater than 1. Okay, So fact is equal to factorial into 1 is equal to 1 into num. So num will be 5, for example. So 5 multiplied, fact will become 5. Correct? And after that, we have to decrement the value of number by 1. Say this. See how. So first number 5, for example, enter 5. We know 5 factorial is 120. So 5 into 1 will get 5 here. Then number will be decremented by 1. We'll go here, check number greater than 1, 4. So 5 into 4, previous execution we have 5 here. So 5 into 4, okay, 5 into 4 will become 20. Number decremented 3. Again 20 into 3, that is 60. Okay, we'll get that 60 here. Again decrement by 1 will become 2. Okay, so 60 into 2, that will become 120. Number is incremented by 1. It will become 1. Condition false. 1 is greater than 1, false. Will come out of it. What is the value of fact? 120. Say this. So this is how we can make use of a while loop to solve your problem statement. So just can identify any problem statement that you want to do and identify the logic also. We are knowing the control structures, but how can I employ the logic? That is important to know and important to understand that case. Now, this I have solved using while loop. Can you solve that by using the for loop? Yes, obviously, that is also possible by using for loop, but control structures are different there. How to? So let's see. So for num, sorry, for n in range. See. So what range we require? 1 to num plus 1, because that number should also get considered inside it. Okay, 1 to num, for example 5 is there. So if I write 1 to 5, so only 4 number are considered. That's why I require 6. So 1 2 3 4 5 number are taken here. Let's multiply them. Fact is equal to fact into n. That numbers are taken one by one into factorial, and sorry, in n, and I'm multiplying that to the factorial. So first about multiply by 1, then multiply by 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Factorial will contain the factorial of all, means multiplication of all this number from 1 to 5. Correct? And then factorial, I printed it on the screen like this. So if you check that, okay, yes, saved. The number 5. Correct. So this is how we can solve with the help of a for loop also. Though their structures are different, their logic will also be different. We just have to employ the perfect logic, and based on that, the solution to the problem statement can be found. So all other problem statements which are mentioned here, just try by your own, employ your logic, and try to get for and while loops are now 4, and now let's make their combinations. What are nesting of the loops? Just like we have seen the nesting of if-else, here we can make use of the loop nesting also. We can nest, okay, so we can also nest a loop inside another. We can put a for loop inside while inside a for inside a for, or while inside a while. Okay, like that. So just can perform it. Now one small example I mentioned, I need to create a pyramid. See, I'll just show you what exactly is done there. This is what triangle of the asterisk I have created. Okay, so I just want that, and check what answers we'll be getting from that. So this pyramid. So what is required? Two things are there that I require to iterate for loop for 5 number of times. So first line, second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line. Correct. 5 times. That is first for loop. And inside it, for every iteration of the for loop, I want to print asterisk for n number of times. So first time 1 time, then 2 times, then 3 times, then 4 times, then 5 times. If it is expected that every time you have to give 5 stars, so it is easy. But every time the numbers are changing. So first 1 time, then 2 times, then 3 times, then 4 times. So the number of the for loop you have to mention here for the range. Okay, and then we'll go with that. Let's try that. So for n in, let's take outer variable is I in range. So 5 number of times I have to iterate that. 1 to 6. Correct. And print स्टार, ठीक है, asterisk. They are printed, fine, they are printed. But the thing is that I want that star to be printed one time first, then two time, then three time, then four time. So here also I'll have one more for loop which will be executed for I number of times. I number of times. So first one time, then two time, then three time, then four time, then five time. Like that it will be iterated. Sorry, what's the problem? Yeah, colon is remaining. Oh, now a problem is there because every statement is ended with a new line. I don't want a new line here. I want after asterisk is printed, okay, it will have a end is equal to space, okay, and when one loop is ended, after that we'll print a new line. That is by default only print contains a new line printed over there. That's why I just mentioned like this. Check it out. Okay, what exactly what we have done here? This end means when star is printed, I will print a space. Like when the spaces are printed, when this loop is over, then I am printing a new line, because if you write just print, it will print a new line also. Okay, by default new line is connected to the print statement and it's printing it on the screen, and we'll get the respective output on the screen. Check it out. So this is how the nesting of the loop is possible. You can write a loop inside loop. A problem statement of finding a solution to prime numbers is done with the help of nesting of the loops. Okay, it's given there. Just can check it out. Prime numbers in a series. If you want to find that loop inside loop, that we can make use of and perform the respective operations with this. Check it out. It just mentioned here how the outputs are generated for using a nesting, a loop inside loop. And remember, if inside for inside if, that's also possible. So you just can nest any kind of decision making control to the loop control, any loop control, decision making control, and anywhere. So whenever they are expected as per the logic that you have built, you just can make use of it and perform the operations with that. Fine. Now, let's go for loop control statements. Loop control statements are used to control the operations of the loop. So many operations are there. Like the first one is break. Break is a universal statement again. Wherever the loops are present in any of the language, any of the programming language, where the loops are present, there the break statement is available. So when you put a break statement in the body of a loop stops executing and control shifts to the first statement outside of it. We can put it in a for loop or a while loop. So upon a certain conditions, certain specific conditions, if you have to terminate your loop, so we'll be making use of the break statement. Break statement. So break is again one more keyword which is used to terminate the loop based on some conditions there. So let's go for that. For example, if I write like this, see while, let's create a counter first. Okay, print count. Okay, so let's write a condition here. If count is equal to 5, break. So break keyword I'm using here. It means that when the count value is equal to 5, I am coming out of the loop. And if it is not, then I am continuing with printing the value of count on the screen. Okay, it means that values from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be printed on the screen. Is that? No. What's done? My counter variable change is missing. That's why it's going in infinite loop. Correct. So let's change counter. Say this 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so this is how we can make use of the break statement whenever we have to jump out of the loop for any particular case. So you just can make use of this break, not in while only, can make use of it in the for loop also. So for count in range 1 to 10. Okay, and here I don't require to change the counter. Check it out. If count is equal to 5, break. Okay, what's the problem? Yeah, colon is remaining. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 0 I not given initially. Here I started with 1 and ended with the 9. It's 10 given there, but till we'll go till 9 only. Okay, so this is how we can make use of the break. Generally, it is associated with a condition. So it is required that you need to have a condition given there and then only call the break statement. Okay, so in C and C++ or Java, break is used in switch case statement also, but in Python continuous continue statement is used to skip the current iteration reaches. When the program control reaches the continue statement, it keeps the statement after the continue. Then it shifts to the next item in the executed block of code for it. We can use it for both while and the for loops. Now, let's see how can I make use of the continue. Continue is used to skip the current iteration of the loop. Current iteration, the current execution of the loop will be skipped by the continue statement and it will continue with the next iteration of the loop. Generally, very less number of time we use the continue statement. Very less number of time because we are not actually aware about the applications or the use or implementation of the continue statement here. That's why we don't use that. But let's try that. Let's see. For example, what we'll do. Okay, let's go for the for loop. For x in range 1 to 20. Okay. And if x mod 2 is equal to, sorry, just a minute, don't use for loop. Let's use a while loop here, which I used. Okay, for loop itself is used. 0. Okay, fine. Let's continue that. And if it is not, then print x on the screen. This is correct. So from 1 to 20, I am taking the numbers one by one into variable x. Okay, and I'm checking that whether that x mod 2 is equal to 0, it's an even number or not. If it is an even number, then I'm continuing with the next iteration of the loop. I'm continuing with the next iteration of the loop. Okay, and if it is not, then I'll printing the number. It means that for the even number, this statement will not be executed. For the even number, this statement will not be executed. And only for odd number, the statement will get executed. Is that? Say this. This is how we can make use of a continuous statement, is to skip the current iteration of the loop and continue with the next iteration of the loop is done with the help of the continuous statement here. So this is how the continue keyword can be used to perform the operation of checking the respective condition, and when the condition satisfied, then continue with the next iteration of the loop by skipping the current iteration of it. If I want to generate the even, so if it is, okay, I'll make it 1 here. That's also easy. If it is equal to 1, then continue. So only for even numbers it will be printed. Check it out. Even numbers are printed only. Continue. It depends upon your logic. So for what particular purpose we need to employ this stuff here, program control structures. Okay, fine. Continue statement. And then the last is the pass statement. So we use the pass statement to implement the stubs when we need a particular loop, class, function in our program, but don't know what goes in it. We place the pass statement in. It's a null statement. The interpreter does not ignore it, but it performs no operation. No. Okay. It is just used to fill the indented space. Indented space there. Okay. Let's try that. It's very interesting to see this particular statement actually. I'll just okay, so just a minute. Okay, so I'm here on the terminal. Let's try that. So for example, while, let's write a loop here, count, easy to understand in this particular case, while count is less than 10. Okay, so it's continuing, remember that, print. Okay, so I'm printing my name here, and count plus equal to 1. Okay, I got the output, correct. Now see, here in while loop, I have written two lines. Now I want empty while loop. I want empty if else. So how to do this one? It's not possible actually. If you check this, if you write count is equal to 0, and if I write while count is less than 10, and I don't want anything there. Okay, nothing. It's required at least one line should be there, else it is not continuing with this. See this one, it's not continuing with that. That's what the problem present over here. So if I write like this also, while, okay, check, while true, or while some conditions here like count is equal to 0, and while count is less than 10, and I don't want anything to be written here, nothing, I want empty while structure. So it is not possible actually. When I run this code, it will show the error, unexpected end of file. Is at least one statement should be present inside the while loop, at least one statement. Or if I want something like this, if count is greater than 0, then I don't want anything. I want only else part. I don't require any statement to be there. Okay, I don't want any statement to be there when the if statement condition is nothing is present there. Now see, if you compare this concept with other languages like C, C++ and Java, they are having a pair of curly braces where we can keep them empty if you don't want anything to be written. Even in that, okay, we are don't not seen that one function. Function also we can. I require empty function. I require empty classes. So in other languages, they contain the curly braces, which we can keep empty. But in Python, we don't have such concept there. We can't keep anything empty. We can't keep anything unindented. Where indentations are there, but no statement are required. It's not possible there. If I run this code, here also I'll get the same error. Expected an indented block. So I can't skip the indented parts here. So this is used to fill the space. See, pass is used to fill the space here. See, I'm getting okay, correct. How? For if condition matching, I don't require anything to get printed on the screen, but for else I require that. Okay, so I require something to print. I don't want that. Okay, the value will be coming from some function I would have written here, but it's okay. This is just for demo I just given. But in some cases, if you require to just fill this space, I require a pass. It is no operation perform actually. How? See, pass. What happened? Nothing. Okay, so the application of pass is to just fill the space which is empty where the no statements are required. Okay, nothing is given, and just you have to fill the space. There we can write a pass statement. Pass is a keyword which is used to perform the operations, and make sure that it's not doing any operation there. Okay, like that. And just to fill the spaces, just to create empty functions, empty classes, empty loops, you can make use of it. Like I write while true, I just have to run it infinitely and don't do any operation. Generally, I require such kind of controls in IoT based applications where I require it to run continuously. So it's infinite, no operation perform. It's doing the operation at background. Okay, background. So I just want to run, I want to keep the program running continuously in the background. I can make use of this statement like that, while to pass, running. So when I press Control C, then only my program will be terminated. So this is the application of the pass keyword. It's used to fill the space wherever the indentations demands it, and we don't have any statement right there. So that case, we just can write the pass statement to fill the empty spaces which are required by the indentations. So it's to fill the space which is requiring the indentations. Okay, so not only in while or for, but in every indented block where you have to fill the space, we can make use of the pass statement, and make sure that it's a keyword. Most of the time what students do, they make use of this particular statement to store variable like password is equal to hello 1 2 3. here. Why? Because pass is a keyword that's not required. So just remember that. Just don't write like that. Okay. So some exercises that you may, okay, you have to solve by using nesting of the loops, or you require the break and continue statements here. Write a program to check whether the entered number is prime or not. Okay, it's a prime number or not a prime number. Write a program to print all the prime numbers from 5 to 50. So prime numbers we require continue and break, remember. And for printing the prime numbers, you require nesting of the loops and break or continue. That also you may require in that case. And the third one is print this pattern like 1, then 2, 2, 3, 3. We have seen asterisk already, but here we have to print the numbers. First number 1, 1 time, 2, 2 times, 3, 3 times, 4, 4 times, 5, 5 times, like that. Or the last one, find the power of x raised to y. Okay, that is right, power of x, that is x raised to y, by taking the value of x and y as input from the user. Okay, so this is just to identify that whether you understood these concepts or not. Okay, so what sort of logic you employ there, and it's possible for you to find a solution to these problems or not. Okay, so just make use of your own logic and try to find the solutions to the respective statements over here. Okay, so this is how we have learned about the decision making statements and the loop control statements. So exercises which are given here in the session, you just solve that, and if you have any doubts or questions, so you are welcome now. Thank you.